a little bit about Yu-Gi-Oh. So this next part will probably go up as an independent VOD called what's it called? The YCS story. The YCS tale. It's time for the YCS tale. Folks, let's speak on the YCS. We need to talk about the YCS problem. Here, well, this will be the thumb. It'll be like the problem with YCSs. I'll get that. I'm going for like I'm trying to shoot the gap between like Stevie Blunder and like Callie. You know, maybe sprinkle a little Doug in there. It'll be called like. Does Team Samurai X1's YCS count? Let's discuss. And then in parentheses, we'll do the Doug bit, which is this changes everything. Okay. So here's what's going on. This past weekend was YCS Cancun. I have loved YCS Cancun for the past 2 years. Super big fan of the event. It's just a great opportunity to go to Cancun for some reason. I really enjoy going there. The thing about Cancun, if you've never been, is that they basically built it to be Disney World for crackers. And as a cracker, I can really appreciate that. So I was excited to go. But the other reason I was excited to go is because I felt this was my best opportunity to get a YCS top. For those of you that don't know, earlier this year, I was like, I'm going to get a top this year. I consider that accomplished from the Challenger Cup that Kerparian did that was 256, but I still do want a YCS top. Unfortunately, it became clear pretty quick that it may not be a great opportunity to do so. So the problem with me going to a YCS for a weekend is that I have to stack a bunch of content up in advance, and that eats into my time that I can test. So I need to be confident in my play before I start. And I had basically resolved a couple of weeks ago, I was like, you know what? I'm going to play Snake Eye Fiendsmith. Good deck. Don't see anything going wrong with it. Well, the week before, it became clear that actually there was something wrong with it. The deck was ass. So my options were either get really good at Yubel Fiendsmith in 4 days, which I couldn't do. I'm sorry. Or just take Snake Eye Fiendsmith and do the best that I could. So I did really well at the last YCS Cancun. I didn't clear by one game. I played like 4 pros on my run. It was shocking. I felt pretty confident that I could do something similar at this one, and it's coming at a really historically bad time for Yu-Gi-Oh! About half the amount of people that were at the last YCS were at this one. Really, to get into top 32 at this event, you just had to be in like the top 8% of people who showed up, which is shocking for YCS levels. You know, they will run a 2,000 person YCS and cut to top 32. So it was very, it seemed like it was more possible than it has been in the past. So that's the mentality I'm going in with. We go in Wednesday, and on Wednesday it becomes clear that the hurricane is not all the way over. We flew out on the morning of Wednesday, and we come in, and basically Cancun has been beset by a fucking hurricane. And we're like checking in and stuff like it's normal, but there is like debris in the street, and like cleanup crews are like picking it up and shit. And I'm like, oh God, you know, this is... I hope everything's going to be okay. I think that's one of the reasons there was pretty low attendance. Last time when we went to Cancun, we just got some hotel that we did enjoy a lot, but it was very close to Cocobongo, the club. And Jillian had a little trouble sleeping. So we were like, we'll go further down and we'll just go to we'll just like hop in a cab or something to get to the event space. So this time when we were looking at hotels, we were looking at the ones further down, and we were like, you know what? We should get an all-inclusive one. That way we don't have to worry about food or drinks or anything like that. I don't know if I would do that again. I guess we'll get to why pretty soon. we fly in, there's shit everywhere, and we're walking around. We meet up with Danny. So Danny is there Friday or Wednesday with us, and then Leah Asimov is going to come Friday because she can take Friday, Monday off work and then just hang out with us there, right? So it's me and Jillian and Danny, and we get off the plane. Now, remember from last time, if you walk down, there's a bunch of rent-a-car places that will scream at you while you're walking past them. And they're like, please, please use us. God, please use us. So I give them a heads up. I'm like, just so you know, all these people are going to scream at you. And they're like, okay, okay. So we're walking down, and we take a wrong turn. And Jillian goes, all right, Danny, can you order an Uber? And he does. So we order an Uber, and the Uber stops before the airport. And we're like, why did you stop? So we call him, and Danny's like, what's going on? Why'd you stop? And we learned a very interesting factoid about the Cancun airport. Did you know that Uber is not legal as a transportation service to the Cancun airport? I didn't know this. I mean, good on them. It makes sense. So they can't enter the airport. We have to like, sorry, we didn't know, our way through it. And then we are at a pickup place for friends and family and cannot re-enter the airport to get to the place where the taxis are. So the only people that will take us are unlicensed taxi people, which last year we had a run-in with. They go like, oh, this will take $30. It'll take $40 to get you to the to your hotel, and then they charge you. They like use your credit card and they charge you $200 or something. So we're like, fuck. We kind of strong arm security and get back to the airport. We end up taking one of the like reputable taxis, which is still a shitload of money. Like it is super expensive. And all the travel guides were like, you're going to have to fucking shell out for the taxi from the airport. But it was crazy. It was shocking. So we got away, and it was we strong-armed airport security, he said extremely whitely. I mean, we just like kept walking, and people were like, hey, stop, and we just kept walking, right? That was strong-arming. But this ended in airport security coming up to us and being like, hey, you can't do that. And we were like ignoring them because we'd been ignoring all the people who had been like coming up and yelling at us. And he was like, you can't fucking ignore me. Let's talk. And we were like, oh my God. Oh, Jesus. Okay. So we were like, sorry, this is the position we're in. And they were like, it's okay. I understand. Like, you can't do that though. Like, don't do that in the future. And we're like, okay, yeah, we get it. I'm sorry. So we end up finally getting to the fucking hotel. And we just immediately start eating and drinking, and we got a lot of food in us, and it was a lot of fun. Admitting crimes online. This is literally not a crime. Ignoring the fucking taxi hustlers, you people are out of your mind. So then we wake up Thursday, and we were planning on for Thursday doing nothing. So we go to the beach to hang out on the beach, but there was a hurricane. So the beach was nice, but the ocean was insanely dangerous. We were like trying to hang out in the ocean, but it was like the absolute most fucked thing ever. You know, sharks, no sharks. It was just like, it was an angry ocean. And so basically we just lazed around the pool instead. We lazed around the pool over and over again. And then Danny and I did do a fair amount of testing that day. He had brought U-Bell. I brought Snake Eye. And our games were just, I don't know. This is how I feel about this format. And I know that it's different if you're playing U-Bell, and this is an argument for playing U-Bell. But it felt like so much of gameplay was just like die roll and then counting points of interaction in hand. And it was like, oh man, I don't know if I can do this. I think the only deck that has the capacity to play through I won the die roll and now we'll compare hands is U-Bell, because you can lead your turn with like, okay, shuffle to back, make make Phantom, and then like I can leverage something against what you do in order to force through something. But in many ways, it's great that Snake Eye is no longer the best deck because that type of gameplay is so intrinsic to playing Snake Eye, right? So we have not done like any of the things we wanted to like do in quotes here. We've just lazed around at the pool and drank. So Thursday night, we're like, let's go to a show because the place we're at has shows. And Danny goes, sure, I'll be down at 9. We come back at 9 and we're like, let's go. And Danny's like, guys, I don't think I can do this. And we were like, what? Why? Danny has become incredibly ill. We don't know what he's sick with. He had COVID recently, but has since recovered. So we're pretty sure it's not COVID. He tests, it's not COVID. We're like, what the fuck else could it be, you know? So he tucks in. We just like, we're chilling. And then the next day, Leah Asimov is coming. But before Leah Asimov gets here, our hotel has been talking up for the past 2 days. They're like, you guys got to go to the presentation. And Jillian said, yeah, let's go to the presentation. And I kind of looked at Danny when this was mentioned, and I was like, uh-oh. And so the thrust of the presentation was they would give you like a really nice breakfast. So we're like, let's have the breakfast. So we go down to the breakfast, and it is many people have already figured it out, timeshare adjacent thing. They were very insistent it was not a timeshare. It just functioned very similarly to a timeshare. And I'm just like, how the fuck? We are paying to stay here. How did we end up in a timeshare presentation? So this entire thing ends up being like maybe 90 minutes total, if that. You know, we were pretty clearly disinterested. And, you know, Jillian's like, well, let's hear him out. And I'm like, no, Jill, we're not doing this shit. And it was a really, really it was a really weird position to be in, to be like, listen, I get that you guys have to make money or whatever, but it's not like I came on a free vacation and like this is the way that you lure me in. Like, we paid like for a hotel, you know, like this seems like kind of shitty. And so the other thing about the timeshare is it was really not clear how much we were going to pay. Like, the number kept changing. And so I don't know. It was, what's a timeshare? All right, let me give you the heads up. So a bunch of places that have hotel destinations will sign you up for a program called a timeshare, where every year, usually for 25 years, they will give you some number of weeks during the year that you can come and vacation in a really nice location, right? And that's it. To do this, you pay a monthly fee or like a flat rate, or, I mean, there's a lot of different payment schemes, but the short of it is they are trying to get you to pay a sort of subscription model for a vacation that is forced upon you at weird times. It's not good. And the really rough part about timeshares is they are almost impossible to get out of. It's a type of ownership that like is really difficult to get detached from. And I don't know shit about Mexican property law. We were asking to see a contract, and they were like, oh, we can give you like benefits. We're like, no, we want like a piece of paper. But it's, I mean, it was super annoying. And so I was kind of in a bad mood that day. Then Leah arrives at the location. Danny is still extremely ill. We go to the place to sign up. And then on the way back from the place, Danny's like, dude, we have to give Pac a copy of Abominable Chamber. And I was like, what? And he's like, Pac forgot an A-bomb. We got to go hand it to him. So we walk over to his hotel, which is close, and we're like, all right, we're in the lobby. Pac comes out, to our understanding, completely naked. He's just like shirtless and he's got a towel on and he's like, thanks for the A-bomb. I'm so sorry. And we're like, that's fine. And then we get out of there. And we were like, damn. All right. So Saturday is the event. So this was a weird quirk of the Konami reporting apparatus. The mechanism by which you submit your list was online and it closed at 10 a.m. Eastern. But Cancun is in Central Time. So, it was kind of strange. So I go to, assuming all the times on the Yu-Gi-Oh website are in Eastern, I go to the event space at 9 a.m. And that is not when the event starts. It starts, It starts at 10. So I'm just chilling there for an hour. I actually went back to the hotel and just ate some breakfast and came back. And I took a monstrous shit. One thing you may not know about Mexico, if you have never been there, is that they don't shit the same way we do. In America, it's like our favorite thing in the world to flush crap down the toilet. We love to flush like small toys, tampons, oil down the toilet until it creates like a huge fatberg in our water supply, and then we have to like forcibly remove it. In Mexico, anything that is not doo-doo or pee-pee does not go in the toilet. You have to wipe your ass and then throw it in a small self-contained trash can next to the toilet. So this is fine round 1. By round 4, it's not as good. It's a little different. So I had to get my shitting done early. Now, I know you all are thinking, uh-oh, stinky. I will say this, which is I don't want to gas Mexico up too much. Every public bathroom I've ever been in America, every single place pee could go, there's like an inch of pee. There's always like, of the toilets, 2 of them are always like caked in shit in a way you couldn't believe happened. But I would say probably 75% of the public toilets I used in Mexico that were intended for like high load, like in the airport or in like a mall. There was a janitor staffed inside the restroom at all times. And if you took a shit, they would immediately walk in after you and they would wipe up all your shit and your piss. They would take the sack of doo-doo wipes, put it in like a larger trash can, and then they would replace it. And I was like, oh my God. So as a result, every time I took a shit in a public place, it was the nicest it's ever been. I was like, oh boy. I was like, clean again? Oh boy. It was very, very nice, I gotta say. So the event itself was, it did not go well for me. Let me see if I can pull up the, this is me going, we're going to go X3 instead of going to the beach. It's me going, this is so fucking boring. I should be activating the Fiendsmith. This was taken on a day we couldn't go in the ocean because it was too choppy. We did anyway. We went in for a short amount of time. But this was my actual thing. So the other good thing about Cancun is I get downtime in between rounds. And most YCSs, when I finish a round, it just becomes like a meet and greet for an hour, and then we have another round. But at Cancun, I can kind of steal off into a corner and, largely I'm undisturbed. But there are a lot of people who do still want to meet me. And to those of you who came up to me and like asked for signatures and stuff, if you're here, I really do appreciate it. I have no problem doing that. 30 seconds in, I was handed this field center and they were like, I brought this for you. And I was like, gracias. Yeah, appreciate it. And I've been using it as a bookmark. It is quite funny. So my first round is up against Labyrinth. This is a matchup I was quite scared of. My extra deck was built in such a way that I think I had a pretty positive lab matchup. I win the die roll, I go first, and I put up a board that they mostly can't get through. Game 2, I scoop almost momentarily. And then game 3, I let my opponent do something that I probably shouldn't have. They go summon. There is a clear language barrier. They go summon lovely effect, and I go, we'll hold on summon Promethean, and they go, okay. We resolve the chain backwards, and they set for her effect, and I go, well, no, that's an ignition effect. I'm gonna do it on summon, and they were like, no, I said effect. You do it in response to that effect, and I go, no, that's not how it works. And then I like look over at the time, and I see the time, and it's 3 minutes, and I'm like, uh-oh. I'm like, you're right. I was very stupid to I would never want to imply anything. And then I like speed through my fucking combo so I can get to the battle phase, and I end up winning that way. Because I'm like, I can beat one more fucking point of interaction. It's fine. And so then afterwards, he's like, you should have Prometheaned when I summoned it. And I was like, yeah, duh. Like, what do you, of course. So then round 2, I play against Salad, and it was a real heartbreaker. The deck was cool. I can't really be that mad because the deck was cool. And unfortunately, it was like game 1, he had Droll Nib into a hand that couldn't beat Droll Nib. Game 2, he had Nib, but I played through it as best I could. The combo I was doing, by the way, I was really proud of. And then game 3, I just bricked. I just opened fucking Flamberge, Snake Eyes Diabellstar, like a Tract that was like he had some point of interaction for it, and like Imperm Veiler. And I was like, fuck. And so he goes first. He has also bricked. Then I draw, no help. He draws, he finds Gazelle. It's like, well, you know how it is. So I'm feeling pretty bad because like I know at Cancun the meta is going to be everything. And I had built my deck to beat good decks. And so I was scared that I was going to be thrown into the rogue bracket. I shouldn't have been scared of that. I should have been scared of getting thrown into Tenpai. My next match was up against Tenpai. And it was just Tenpai, man. That Ruben tweet, I feel in my heart of hearts. He's like, I love that there's just a deck in the format that like neither player plays the game. It takes 4 minutes and neither player plays the game. And I think Tenpai is in a much worse position than a lot of other decks, but like in game 1, he shifters. Somehow I don't die. I like summon a Bestial in the battle phase in order to like blank an attack that would have killed me. And then passes turn. I put this person, the hand's not great, but I put them dead to anything but the field spell off the top. And it's the fucking field spell off the top, of course. The one of. And then the second match, it was just a shifter. And so I'm like, okay, well, I have some non-engine. I said it. He goes, Lightning Storm. I go, okay. He goes, Dark Hole. I go, okay. He goes, Pydra. I go, all right. That was fun. So at 1-2 after 3 rounds, I'm feeling like shit. It's over in my estimation. I would have to win out, and even then, I think some X2s didn't clear. I was unclear as to whether it was going to be top 32 or top 16 because there weren't a lot of people there. So I was like, if some X2s don't clear, there's no reason for me to stick around. And my opponent sits down across from me. It is the first opponent I've had all day who does not speak English, which is fine. I played against a lot of people who do not speak English. But it means there's just going to be a weird language barrier that we're going to have to negotiate. And I know enough Spanish that I can like go, efecto de Fenrir, fucking I do the gringo thing. And so he unrolls the stinkiest mat I've ever seen in my life. If you are my opponent, congratulations on the round. You got to wash your mat, man. It was a Cyberstorm Access mat that looked like it had like, those mats they do on the like rug cleaning ASMR channels? It looked like that. And I'm like, oh boy, here we go. I lose the die roll, and my opponent goes normal summon lifeless leaf fish. And I go, oh, please be fucking sharks. Please be sharks. He sends a goatee, and I go, fuck. And so he's like, he goes, distant deepest depths, Piscus. And I'm like, can I look at Neuron? So I'm like looking through Neuron, which I downloaded offline earlier, and I'm like, what the fuck does Piscus do? Jesus Christ. If you've never played against Goatee, it is the most convoluted, complicated deck, and knowing the text in English does not help. And like about 2 minutes into this combo, I'm just like, no. I just I go off and I just tune out, and I'm like, nah, we gotta go. And I walked out of there. I was like, it's not gonna happen, baby. It's really easy. Are you like, okay? You're out of your fucking mind. If you think navigating Piscus Keef is easy, I don't know what to tell you. You should have won a YCS by now. What's your fucking excuse? Oh, man. Yeah, no, there's like a ton of little random effects, and they were using the new cards too, which I'm not super familiar with. The like white sardine, white sunfish, all those cards do a billion different things. Like keeping track of which are tuners and which aren't is just annoying. It's, oh my God. Master Duel chatters. Yeah, guys, if you've played Master Duel Goatee, I don't accept anything you're saying. You're just activating a runic spell and normal summoning a 2-star monster. The way Goatee plays now is incomprehensible. And so I was like, nah, I gotta go. I gotta go. I gotta go. The supporters in Master Duel now, they have White Sardine in Master Duel? That's crazy. So I headed out and went to the beach. I also hated my list. Obviously, Snake Fiends isn't like the best deck right now. I thought it would still be fine. Like Jesse topped with fucking Crystal Beast. The thing that I think held me back a lot was my deck building. I felt like my technical play was really good all day. But the deck itself was built very poorly. I feel like I made the wrong choice on non-engine. I made the wrong choice on playing 40. I feel like my side deck was very loose. So I really can't blame anyone but myself for this, but it is still disappointing, of course. The same cannot be said for fellow Yugi tuber Team Samurai X1. Let me see if I have this. So Sam cleared after going 7-0 day one, followed by 2-0 the next day. Number 1 seed. He then proceeded to not lose a match the entire day. And like, let me be clear. I understand a lot of people are going to be like, oh, it was a small event, you know. There were less people there because of the hurricane. You know, a lot of people were playing bad decks. Yeah. There were good players there. The bounty duelists were like 4 Worlds competitors. Ruben played and topped. I mean, it was like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, he beat a lot of insanely good players. And he beat 14 of them. It is incredible for the boy. I figured it would happen eventually. That second place 3v3 YCS was a real pain in my in the rear end, but it's so nice that he was able to do it. He said 11 mirrors, I believe. He also did dodge the rogue bracket, which is the goal. But also, his list was so tight. It was so unbelievably good. And I sat next to him round 2 and watched him play against Tenpai, and he was just looking over. He was like, fuck, man. Please don't let this happen. Like, it's just, you know, you play Tenpai, it's like, oh, man. And he came out and he was like, he actually did misplay 1 point of interaction, and I just would have lost if he had it. And, you know, that would have been the end of the dream right there. But, you know, he just wanted it more. He had Conqueror's Haki. Hakai? How do you say it? I've never watched One Piece. He's damn good. He is, it was Haki. All right, sick. He's so good at Yu-Gi-Oh, man. I don't want to glaze him, but like, it is funny that anyone still thought Sam was like not good. It's one of those things where like I think there's an argument that at different points in his life, Sam was way overstating like the quality of decks or whatever. But like at this point, he just is a top player. Like he consistently does very well at YCSs. But because he also posts best Blue Eyes White Dragon, people are like, oh, he's a casual. Jesse's list, though. All right, I want to talk a very small amount about Jesse's list. I think it's in my bookmarks. Let me see if I have it. Yeah, Jesse's doing the fucking side quests. Okay, so here's Jesse's list. Fiendsmith, Snake Eye, Crystal Beast. he's just fucking playing anything, man. I will say, Jesse is probably the literal best Crystal Beast player on the planet, but come on. So I did like a lot of the responses to this were like, oh, Crystal Beast, eh? Looks like a Snake Eyes deck for me. And it's like, there are way more Snake Eye cards. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. There's 25 Crystal Beast cards in here. Like he's fucking decked out. It's crazy. Oh man. He's so good. He's crazy. I do like a lot of the people who like accidentally clicked this because they're like fans of Crystal Beast and they're like, how the freaking heck does he even make Rainbow Dragon? And it's like, who knows? What is the Valance spell doing in there? Okay. I was hoping one of you could tell me. Because so the Crystal Beast trap has to search a field spell. Right? Dimax says it's crazy. I can explain. Set rotation? He's not playing set rotation. Anti-imperm tech? Oh, it is natively set rotation. Okay. But the reason you play set rotation is to go into a good field spell. The Valance field spell can summon monsters from the back row. Are you fucking with me right now? It can summon the crystal beasts from the back row? No. Fuck. There's a lot going on here. You search the field with Rainbow Bridge, give the other to your opponent, then you get a kill spell going second and an extender going first while turning off imperms and evenlies. He's goated. He's so goated, man. He's the smartest motherfucker on the planet. Fuck Jimmy Neutron. Motherfucking genius. Oh my god. All right, that's all I'm talking about. I should talk about today. Or Sunday. So Sunday I was planning on doing the 3v3, but Danny was feeling devastatingly bad, so we just didn't. And it was finally nice enough that we could troll around in the water, and we did. You know, I will say I really enjoyed Cancun, and I know I just went to like a bunch of tourist trap places. But I had a couple people come up to me and they were like, hey, how have you been feeling about our country? And I was like, well, I mean, I've been in a tourist trap, but you know, I'm a tourist. I've been liking it a lot. And they were like, really? And I was like, come on, man. You know, this place is really nice. I don't know what to tell you. Oh, do you know how many places in America are just Cancun but bad? You know. But one thing we did Sunday that was really funny, was we went to a mall. Like there was a luxury mall around us, so we didn't want to really do the luxury part, so we got out of that. But we went to the normal mall, and it was as dead as any American mall. It was like there was a grocery store on the upper floor. There was a fucked up just souvenir shop for the gringos. And then there was like a Haagen-Dazs. There was an Oakley. There was a fucking sunglasses hut. I was like, I'm back in America, baby. I'm back in Topeka, Kansas at the Westridge Mall, baby. It's the exact same stores in the exact same dead ass mall. A huge portion of the second floor had apparently recently been bought by a hospital just because like someone had to buy it. It's so funny. Jillian was telling me actually she does like political science, and one of the surveys that she was doing was about like different purchasing locations in different countries and like indoor outdoor and stuff like that. And she was like, it's actually the case that almost every nation has an analog to the American mall, and almost every nation, they are in the exact same state of disrepair. Like almost every nation has done the we made malls and now we no longer need malls thing. It's so fucking funny. And this was the exact same. We ended up getting some fun stuff. We got some pictures. You know, we could have like run around there if we wanted. My favorite was there was like a silver working stand that was like kitschy jewelry. And then 4 stores down was the same silver working stand. Exact same items, same store. They had just put it in there twice. And I was like, fuck yeah, dude. That's so cool. Oh, man. All right. No Yu-Gi-Oh product, no. And then how many Starbucks? There were Starbucks in the mall. There were 2 Starbucks in the mall. The food court had 2 total, like there was a ton of places. 2 of them were open. One was called Tacos, like just capital T Tacos. And the other, you know, it's got to be Starbucks, baby. Was there a Sbarro? No, but close to the resort, there was a Famiglia, and I was like, this is how we know we're really in Mexico, baby. They got the real Italian food. Ugh. And then Monday, we got up really early to see the sunrise. We check out. We go to the airport, and fucking hell, that was the most anxious I've been in a long time because it was a United flight. And if you're unfamiliar, United is an airline owned and operated by Hitler. He came back like 20 years ago to be their CEO. And of course, we were getting on a fucking Max. And about 30 minutes before we go, one of the people's like, hey, we got to push the flight back. One of the flight crew is having a medical emergency. And we're like, oh? Okay. And that lasted 3 hours. And then we're watching like the storm get worse and closer to us. We're like, we got to get the fuck out of here. But we did. My pilot came late from Houston. Ex-Veris, I think we were on the same fucking flight because they had to get a new flight crew and they came from Houston. Anyway, let's do Prague.